Welcome to Works TV. Welcome to the D996, where we have 8 996s celebrate a quarter of a century of the 5th generation 911. Our 996 pilgrimage back to Porscheplatz, celebrating 25 years of the 5th generation 911, began, as it always does from the UK, with a quick dive under the English Channel via the Eurotunnel. Our 9works road trippers using the 35-minute crossing to take a closer look at the cars in attendance, as well as getting to know one another. We'd all become good friends by the end. Then our 8-strong UK party of 996s, with one joining us later, made our way through northern France on some quiet rural roads, not shown here. It was great to see a real mix of cars on this trip, both Gen 1 and Gen 2, coupe and cab, narrow and wide body, manual and Tiptronic. The full accoutrement of 996 Carreras, all en route back home to Zuffenhausen. By the end of day one though, we'd reached our overnight stop in Reims via the obligatory stop at the famous old F1 circuit grandstands. In case you're wondering, while you're no longer permitted to stop here, strictly speaking, it seems the authorities are a little more lenient on Sundays, certainly in our experience, sparing us some precious time at this storied venue just out of town. Sightseeing done, we headed off for our nighttime digs. Okay, day 2 of the 996 road trip. Stopped at Reims overnight. It's kind of ubiquitous as a stopover really for certainly enthusiasts travelling from the UK. Today though is a very special day, particularly for us 996 folk. There are some fantastic driving roads through mid-France and we're going to be hitting up one of them, aptly named the D996. What better way to celebrate 25 years of the 996 by having 8 996s driving on the D996. The D996 would certainly not disappoint. Long and flowing at first when travelling from north to south from Reims, the route gradually builds to a crescendo of fast twists by the time you drop into Dijon, offering a real treat for both driver and car. At times it felt like this road was made for the 996 itself. So Ellie, that was the D996. You had a little bit of a drive. What do you reckon?
Yeah, nice road. Suits the car well. Lots of bends, lots of things to play with and entertain yourself with. Very good.
Yeah, see, I've said this before on an article for Total 911, of which you are the photographer extraordinaire for, and I said I felt like this kind of gem of a road down somewhere into the middle of France kind of contains snippets of other famous roads around planet Earth, just in kind of character, really. So the way some of the cambers work on the corners kind of reminds me a bit of the Nürburgring, where it's left, right, left, up, down, and all of that. So it's got that kind of busyness of the Nürburgring. The way the road can be quite undulating at times reminds me of the Isle of Man TT.
Yeah,
Cars moving around a lot beneath you. And then we've got some really nice flowing sections which you could plonk yourself on the east coast of the North Coast 500 for, as an example. So to my mind, it's something that's got absolutely everything, and as you rightly point out, very well suited to these cars.
Indeed it is.
I think whether 3.4 or 3.6, all of the cars were working really hard within the limits, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I think everybody's jumped out there and felt like they've had a workout, the cars had a workout, and I think, yeah, serendipity defines that road is named, or shares the same name as these lovely cars. So yeah, I'm very glad we've done it. Off to the Porsche Museum via Mulhouse, or however you say it. We finished the brilliant D996 and made our way over the German border, headed for Stuttgart and the spiritual home of our Porsche 996s. Our journey took in some of the country's famous autobahns, as well as the majestic Black Forest, which offered another delightful mix of twisties for our convoy of 996s to zip through. It was great fun, despite the conditions, as you can see here. Eventually we rolled into Porscheplatz, the very site where our 996s were assembled, starting from 25 years ago. At this point our party had become 9, with Abel joining us from Switzerland in a super early cable throttle 996, which was 25 years old pretty much to the week. We'd made it to Porscheplatz, and a quarter of a century on, our cars had made it back home. So, the culmination of an outstanding road trip. We've done about 1,300 kilometres to go from the UK here to Porscheplatz, as you can see. On Porscheplatz you've got the museum here. There was, until a couple of weeks ago, a Porsche dealership here, but crucially, the other side of that roundabout is Werk II, which is where these Porsche 996s were made a quarter of a century ago. And 25 years on, it's an absolute privilege to bring these 996s that joined us for the Nine Works road trip back home to the very place that these cars were made and produced. I'd like to show you around the cars first of all. So if you follow, this is what would, well, here's the spreader cars, and I'd like to say, by the way, a big thanks to the guys at the Porsche Museum for allowing us this opportunity to park on this concourse. You're not actually allowed ordinarily to park here. It's not open to the public, so really, really appreciate the access. Let's take a look in detail at some of the cars. So, this car, obviously, Gen 1, as you can tell by the lights. This is a really special car. It's a numbered production car. It's the Millennium Edition 911. Obviously, it was made in the year 2000. There are only 911 of these built for worldwide markets. They all, as I said, it's a numbered production run, so you get a plaque on the interior that shows the number of the car. It's got a unique interior as well. I'll try and see if it's open. Maybe it might be worth it, or I'll get that as a detail. It is open. So, if Ali can swing round, you can see there's a pretty unique interior on these. I can't remember what colour that is, but included with the wood trim as well. So this is all standard specification, and then you might just be able to see beyond the steering wheel on that centre console is the number of the car. So, as I say, pretty rare car. There were only two, incidentally, is that closed? Yeah. There were only two numbered production 996s. You had the 40th anniversary car, of which there were 1,963 made, and then this, 911, even rarer. It's a Carrera 4, by the way. That's the first one I've ever seen with the aero kit. It's a really, really cool car. A really, really cool car on that. That's the Millennium Edition 996. Then we've got, obviously, my Irish green snot box. You don't need to see any more of that. Then we move on to 996 C4S, owned by Nick Moder, who's obviously joined us on this Nine Works road trip. Again, pretty cool car. Let me show you the interior of this, because I think that's where it's most special. Tech Art wheels, front and back. I'll open the door for Ali, the cameraman extraordinaire. So take a look at that interior. I'm told, and even on the headrests, they're Porsche crested headrests, that is a standard, or that is a factory interior. I've never ever seen that before, so very, very, very unique, even with the contrast stitching on the steering wheel. That is a really, really, really nice car. Pretty rare spec as far as 996 is concerned. So that's that C4S. We move on to Nigel's narrow-bodied 996 C4 Cabriolet. Nigel, Mr. Leadfoot, as we've called him, is not afraid to pedal this car and pedal it hard. Quite like the Carrera script down the side. It's got black wheels, smoke lights on the back. It's a pretty cool car, I like that. I like it a lot. Then we've got Abel's car. So 8 of the 9 996s that have joined us on the Nineworks road trip, they're all from the UK. Apart from this one, the 9th car is Abel, who's joined us from Switzerland. So it's really nice to see the Nineworks community blossoming internationally. Now, Abel's 996 here, it's a cool car. It's an early car, as you can tell by the amber lenses, just like mine. That was for the first year of 996 production only. But Abel's car is one of the first couple of 100 cars made. It's quite literally 25 years old, a quarter of a century on. It's great to bring this car back to Werk II, where it was made 25 years ago. So that's pretty cool. The reason the group is split up on our Nineworks road trip is the guys need to keep the concourse area here clear for fire and health and safety and all the rest of it. So that's why we're not all in a line, but come over and I'll show you the rest. So, where's Ali and the camera? Let's start down here, shall we? I'm sure Nick won't mind me saying, so Nick, if you're watching, I hope you won't mind me saying this at all, but Nick had a bit of a drama this morning, woke up and there was a nail in the tyre, flat tyre. Went into Porsche Centre Mulhouse, couldn't get tyres. In the end it was Abel, and this is what I love. So everybody here attending this road trip, we'd not met before. 3 days later, we're all mucking in to help. Abel was able to source 2 rear tyres from a local Porsche specialist on the border with France and Germany. And we got them on the back of Nick's C4S. He was able to continue the road trip. It was pretty high drama this morning. We're so chuffed that Nick has made it, albeit with a different set of tyres. Otherwise, it's a lovely car. I think that is lapis blue or midnight blue. I think it's midnight blue. C4S cab, it's a stunner. Right, then we move on. So we've got Mike's C4S Coupe, this one. This is a really nice car. C4S is such a good looking car. I really miss mine, especially when you come and look at the back and you compare, say, if Ali's able to shoot down the side, if you're able to go at the front there, Ali, and just shoot down the side, if Ali's able to get that, the difference between a wide body 996 and then this narrow body, we'll talk a bit more about that in a minute, but these wide bodied C4Ss, they're such good news. I think it's one of the most beautiful 911s ever made, I really do. That's the C4S. We come on to this car, which, Ali, if you can get a 3/4 of this car, owned by Anthony. I mean, look at it, it's a beauty. It's a CSR. I think it's build 8, Anthony said. Hartech have done some bits with the engine, then RPM did some bits. I'll have to drop in some actual detail on this car here because I'm afraid I'm a bit light on information at the moment. But it's got the 18-inch Fuchs like mine, genuine, KWV3 coilovers. It rides lovely, this, I have to say. It's been awesome following this for 3 days. It's a stunning, stunning car. Like I say, build 8 from RPM Technic's CSR program. Car number 9, 996 number 9, here at Porscheplatz. It's Sunil's 996 Gen 2 C2, okay? Fuchs-style wheels, Bilstein PSS 10s. Again, this rides really, really nice. I think one of my favourite things about Sunil's car, and hopefully it'll be open, if Ali's able to see. Oh no, it's closed. I'll drop it in as a detail. But inside there, you've got 997 seats, front and rear, 997 shifter as well. Those crucial little ergonomics and touch points that I think really step up the 996's interior. There's your 9 996s. It has been a fantastic road trip, bringing the Porsche 996s from the UK and Switzerland, of course, back here to the birthplace of these cars, the very place where these cars were assembled and where they turned their first ever wheel. The really cool thing about all of these since, and there's varying mileages on all of these cars, is after the cars were produced here, they've gone off, driven many miles or kilometres, given their respective owners or custodians all these different and wonderful memories. Porsche 911s, or any Porsche, only usually leave Porscheplatz once when they're made. It's an absolute privilege, therefore, to bring these cars back here and allow them to leave Porscheplatz one more time and on to create some more memories elsewhere. Thanks, of course, to the guys and girls that joined us on this really special road trip, this pilgrimage back to Porscheplatz for these 996s. It's been a wonderful crowd and makes me excited to do more of these Nineworks road trips going on. But for now, I think we'll sign off from Porscheplatz as we complete the pilgrimage of these 996s 25 years after they first rolled off the line here at Porscheplatz. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon. With our cars parked up outside, we headed inside the museum to enjoy its 50 years of RS display, which has been meticulously put together and is well worth the visit. And that concluded a memorable first road trip. If you'd like to join us on future Nineworks road trips, don't forget to sign up for free at nineworks.co.uk to stay up to date on developments as they happen.